Alrighty, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to the penultimate round here for the Midwest Formula One Division 3 Championship. And what a track to be at here for this before final round, penultimate round of the championship. It is Circuit Paul Ricard. It is the French Grand Prix, and we are just about ready to kick off our short qualifying session. As it looks like we've got Chunky Corgi just about ready to hit the track now, leaving the pits. And like I said, very exciting racetrack here at Paul Ricard. It is the land of the runoff area here. Not many walls to be too worried about as far as this track is concerned, but runoff, and of course tire wear if you do go off that runoff. Those blue stripes, those red stripes on the sides of the track don't just look pretty, they can really do a pretty number to your tires if you're not careful. So a little early, something to keep an eye out here as the out laps are starting. And I've just got my weather report here for the session, so let's go take a quick peek at that, fill everybody in on the weather report, the standings, all of that wonderful stuff, since we've got a little bit of time here between the out laps and the flying laps. So it's looking to be cloudy skies, at least to start the race. Maybe a little bit of weather that'll be kicking in a little bit later on in the race. It looks like it's going to clear up, and then the rain is going to come right near the end, so it could make things very interesting heading towards the end of the race, of course, with the rain. Maybe a final pit stop for those intermediate tires there that can really throw a stick into some of the strategies, a little bit of a shake-up there, but we'll see how that all plays out. A long ways to go before we get to that point, as we're still in early stages here of qualifying. Just starting off, if you're just joining us, welcome. Happy you could be here. My name is Fallen Monkeys. I'm your host for the evening, as we've got Chunky Corgi on your screen, as I thought he was going to be the lead driver to start the lap, but it doesn't look like that's the case. So we'll move over to the racing point of Mitch Burns, 72, reserving in the racing point, as he's going to take us through our flying lap, heading down towards turn 1 across the line. You can cut the inside line of turn 1. That's the ideal line to set yourself up for turn 2. Maximize the exit speed as much as you can here. A little bit of the same idea. Cut the inside of that corner. Quickly ride the inside line on the power. Quickly through this corner here, up the gears. You want to go as wide as possible without extending too much. Maximize the exit speed to set yourself up for the long back straight here at this circuit of Paul Ricard. You just keep going and going and going until all of a sudden you've got to hit the brakes, take this corner, cut that. You can ride the curb just a little bit there, definitely on the exit. Keep a tight line here as you head down part 2 of the straight. A nice sector time, 49.8 here in these early stages. No lift whatsoever through the kink, that right-hand corner. This is where you will start to lift. Feather the brake, get on the acceleration right around the dip in the track there. That drivers know exactly what I'm talking about. Spectators, keep an eye out when we do ride on board another driver. You'll see that little bit of a dip on the inside where it looks like you're going downhill, then quickly just up a tiny little hill, and that is where you want to get the power on. The rest of the lap seems to be relatively straightforward, as you saw towards the line, and this is going to be done in a 129.4. 1-2. Chunky Corgi about a second behind with a 130.598. So pretty good time here from Mitch Burns through this session here in the early stages. Good enough for provisional pole, as a couple more times are falling. But here comes one of our first heavy hitters. It's Heavy S about to cross the line. What's this first time going to be? A 130.746 for the Ferrari driver. Thought we were going to see a little bit more pace, but maybe to be coming later on in the session. Of course, banker laps, definitely a thing here in the in Formula One. Just get a lap on the board, see where it brings you. Get accustomed with the track during a qualifying session, just to get ready for that race session, of course, and then set your one true lap. But for now, we'll stick with the Mercedes. It's Pork Chops on his first flying lap of the session. Let's get a little bit of a detail in. Now, it's heavy. heavy. One thing to note is that he set his time on the medium tires. Unholy Red Eye and Racing Ginger, the only other two drivers to get their time set on the mediums. Porkchop's going purple in the first sector on his qualifying lap here, so it's looking to be a good one. So we'll stick with the other Mercedes driver. We'll see if he can qualify at a similar pace, or at the very least, hopefully faster than his teammate of Unholy Red Eye, who I did mention before had set their first time on the medium tires. And I think there might have been a little bit of a tow given from the Mercedes, given where they are on track. But I don't recall seeing any. We have been on the lap now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more. But maybe in the early stages across the line, there could have been a little bit of help there from the Mercedes drivers. So we'll see if that does play a factor in the lap time now that Porkchops is through into Sector 3. Only a few corners to go before the end of the lap. The penultimate corner there, followed by the final corner. Quickly on the power, heading towards the line. What is the time going to be, as it's a long ways to the line here around Circuit Paul Ricard at the French Grand Prix. Porkchops, though, making his lap in a near 130 flat, a 130.078. Good enough for P2, but that time set by Mitch Burns early on in the session, right off the get-go, is your provisional pole time still to this moment, with 11.5 minutes to go, with about 10 drivers setting a lap time now. Highways is the second driver to break into the sub-130s. He sets a 129.853 on those two-lap-old soft tires, so brings his Alfa Romeo up into second on the grid, but very promptly invalidates his next lap. For now, we'll stick with the Red Bull of VTEC as he's through into Sector 1 on the soft tires. The first Red Bull to set a flying lap. He and young DJ CJ have been absolutely dominant through the entirety of the season so far, and allow me to pull up my my drivers championship standings here to really demonstrate how dominant this Ferrari team, or not the Ferrari team, this Red Bull team has been. Although I'm not going to take anything away from the Ferrari team here this season. It's been a fantastic battle between the two of them. But if we start in the Drivers' Championship, it is actually that Ferrari of Houdini, who is currently in the pits right now on the medium, rocking those medium tires for the moment, showing them off there. He is your leader in the Drivers' Championship, 216 points, but young DJ CJ, not the Red Bull on your screen, but this Red Bull right here, who's now on your screen, just starting a lap, he is second place, 193 points, so definitely not over just yet. Subtle but whole, 144 points. He is in the McLaren, currently up in P9. He is your third place Drivers' Championship sitter here, with the man on your screen now, VTEC, P4 P4 in the running order here in qualifying, and P4 in the championship. So he seems to like that fourth place, but with a couple strong showings here, and next week could possibly leapfrog over into a podium in those Drivers' Championship here. Porkchops in fourth, 118 points, in fifth, 118 points. K-Dog right behind him with 111, with Unholy Red Eye right behind K-Dog with 107 points. Racing Ginger 106, Maida 102, Kaz 99, and the list goes down from there. But those are your top 10 drivers in the championship so far. Now, if we do move on over to the Constructors' Championship here, as we've got some time, young DJ CJ, he sets his first lap time. It's a 129.3, as we just saw him cross the line there. The first driver to out-qualify Mitch Burns. So Mitch Burns, a driver to keep an eye out here, but of course, drivers like young DJ CJ, and I'm sure Houdini as well, as much as he is on the medium tires, they will be in contention here for that pole position by the time qualifying ends. Now, speaking of those racing points, Mitch Burns looks like he's helping out his teammate a little bit of Evil Prime, who's right behind, benefiting from a little bit of a slipstream, a little bit of a tow from their teammates there. So the racing points also showing off a little bit of teamwork here in qualifying. which is definitely something you've got to do, especially around this track in Sector 2, where you've got those two very, very long straights that if you can get an extra 10-20 kilometers an hour, that is definitely going to go a long way into a fast lap here by the end of the session. But just to quickly move on and cover the constructors, as Evil Prime is set to cross the line. The team at Red Bull Racing, they are leading the Constructors' Championship with a grand total of 293 points so far. The Ferrari team, that is Houdini and of course it's Heavy. They are in second, 279 points, but the Mercedes right close behind with 278 points, and of course you can't be chalking up the Williams team of Wild Maida and JC off just yet. They are right there too with 274 points. So McLaren rounding out the top 5, 254 points, so a little bit further behind. But you can see essentially that battle from second all the way down to fourth is anybody's to play for, and even fifth. And even first, if you want to take that into account, all it takes is a couple two bad races at the wrong time, and this order can be changed right on its head. Now, when I'm looking here, let's stick with Houdini now as he's heading around the final corner towards the line. Show us the time. What's it going to be as he finally does cross the line? 7th fastest, but he is the fastest driver of the medium tire runners so far. It does put him into a top 10 position here, which is ideal if he is looking to start on those yellow-walled medium tires that can last a little bit longer than the red-wall soft tire counterparts that we're seeing some of the drivers ahead, the top 6 having set their laps on here in qualifying up until this point. Still, though, 6 minutes to go in this short qualifying session. Young DJ CJ is your pole position sitter for the moment here, but still time to shake up the order. But drivers are going to have to beat a 129.329 at this stage of qualifying if they want to be starting from the that first place on the grid. Once the race does kick off here in a little bit time, a Wild Maida crossing the line. Let's see if he can challenge. Only 14th fastest, 131.183. So for those medium tires, and maybe not the ideal strategy there, Maida might need to switch over to the soft tires and maybe shoot for a time in the top 10, unless he's looking for that free tire choice. But of course, generally speaking, track position is king here around this circuit, but around every circuit, it's a lot easier to defend than it is to overtake. So qualifying as important as ever in this modern day Formula One that we get to watch here today. But we'll see how it all plays out. Now, while I was going through all that, Unholy Red Eye in the Mercedes setting a 129.1. What a lap time from Unholy Red Eye. He takes that pole position, that provisional pole position, away from young DJ CJ, who, to be fair, is on an outlap right now. Might be looking to take it right back, but we'll see how it all plays out between now and the end of the session, as we're going to start seeing most likely some of these fast drivers take their shots for pole position. See Freeman crossing the line, a top 15 for him. In 15th, a 131.2 is the time for the AlphaTauri driver. Tiger NASCAR is on a lap for the Haas team. JC on a lap as well, just a little bit further ahead. But there is the man on pole position as it's Heavy retiring out of qualifying. He's happy with the time he's set, doesn't want to be wasting any other another set of tires, so he has retired out of qualifying. He will be starting at best in 12th. Now, Highways looks to be setting another lap right now, had an invalidation, and actually I don't think will be setting a lap, because that very well should be an invalidation. There we go, once he does get back on track there, and so no lap time set. Now, of course, track limits are definitely a talking point at every circuit, but of course this circuit more than the most, because as you can see, there's no dirt, there's no grass, it's just all asphalt, so similar to what we see in Monza. ones, drivers are going to want to push these track limits as much as they possibly can. Take every single inch, but that's when the track really starts to show its teeth. It'll start biting back if you take a little bit too much, and I'm sure we're seeing this effect here in qualifying with some invalidations, but I think it's going to be more prevalent in the race, especially when drivers are under pressure, battling out for position on the track. Now, back to qualifying here. Young DJ CJ heading towards the line. He does take his pole position right back. It's a 128.684, so smashing the time set by Unholy Red Eye by nearly half a second here. Now the question is, can anybody else respond here with 2.5 minutes to go? Really down to crunch time in qualifying. Mitch Burns on an outlap, so we'll see if he can challenge possibly for that pole position. Definitely somebody to keep an eye out between now and the end of the session. After that very blistering fast first lap he set very early on in qualifying, Tiger NASCAR brought his Haas up to a top 5 here, as he was on a lap previously, a 129.8, but crucially he did that on the medium tires, and to be fair, so did JST. It's a 130.137 on those medium tires for JST. So both the Williams and the Haas finding a lot of pace on those yellow wall medium tires, and the question is, will the likes of Pork Chops, who's currently on an outlap, will he benefit from similar pace here on those mediums, or will he maybe lose a little bit of pace compared to those on the softs? But looking at the best time, so Pork Chops did set his best lap time on the softs, so he will be looking to improve, but it is going to be a strong feat to ask for, but I'm sure the Mercedes driver is up to it. Must be part of the strategy here for the Mercedes team. Run that split tire strategy so you're not tripping amongst teammates trying to figure out how you want to go about your pit stops being on the same tire strategy, which can inevitably mean a compromise for one driver or the other. One driver either having to pit too early or having to stay out longer than they would like. But of course, if you run the split strategy, one driver on the softs, one driver on the mediums to start, you avoid that because you essentially have different pit windows. So definitely a good strategy call from the Mercedes here. We'll see if it works out for them, as Pork Chops starting his lap time on those medium tires. Evil Prime, he goes up to second fastest with those soft tires, a 129.114, so very close to one Unholy Red Eye, 5/1000ths of a second separating P2 and P3, but young CJ, still relatively comfortable in that pole position for the time being. But here with 10 seconds to go in this qualifying session, here we see Mitch Burns on a lap right now coming through Sector 3. Just came around the fast portion of the track, a little bit slow as qualifying has come to a close. Just about all the times have been set here. Only a few drivers are left on track to get times set. Mitch Burns is one of these drivers as he's heading around the final corner now. Opens up that DRS rear wing flap. To the line he goes. Will it be fast enough? No, it's going to be fourth fastest for Mitch Burns, a 129.197. So a good lap time there for him, a top 5, and that puts him, for the time being, right behind his teammate of Evil Prime. So 2 and 4 for the Racing Point thus far. But we'll see if Pork Chops has anything to say about it as he's heading towards the line for his final lap of the session. He is on those medium tires, as you can see on that Mercedes. Towards the line he goes. What's it going to be? It's not faster. So Pork Chops, though, he will remain in P7, but will be starting on those, albeit faster, soft tires, which does match him with the strategy-wise with his teammate. But of course, a small price to pay. Better that than ending up outside of the top 10 and losing that track position. VTech, he's diving into the pit, so that's going to be the end of his qualifying session. He will not improve. Clogmonger doing the same thing, and so is C Freeman for that matter. So there you have it. That has been your qualifying session here. It is a familiar face, the Red Bull of young DJ CJ, who is on pole position, but some new faces of Evil Prime and Mitch Burns, 2 and 4 for the Racing Point Unholy Red Eye between the two of them. So you've got the Red Bull, pink Mercedes, regular Mercedes, pink Mercedes, and of course the Alfa Romeo of Highways, who is rounding out the top 5. But very crucially, when you're looking here, young DJ CJ, he is starting on pole position. Meanwhile, his main championship rival, Houdini, well, he's got a form of pole position, but it's poor man's pole position here down in P11. So 10 positions separate these two drivers, and this could be crucial here heading as we are in the penultimate round of the championship. Only this race and one more to go before we officially crown the champions of the season and start to look towards next season's preparation, which has already begun. But more on that a little bit later here for the stream. A little bit of a teaser there, but here at the end of qualifying, young DJ CJ starting on pole position, Evil Prime in second, Unholy Red Eye rounding out the top 3, Mitch Burns, Highways rounding out the top 5, all on the soft tires. Tiger NASCAR, the lead driver on those mediums. Pork Chops in 7th on the softs. JC, the only other driver in the top 10 to get a time set on those medium tires, with VTEX and Subtle But Whole rounding out the top 10 on the 5th row, positions 9 and 10. Houdini, like we mentioned, down in 11th. He will be starting alongside Capital. Then you've got Chunky Corgi, It's Heavy, K-Dog, A Wild Maida, C Freeman, Clogmonger, Racing Ginger, and Kaz to round out the grid. But Kaz, no time on the board for the Racing Point drivers, so it looks like he's starting from the back of the grid by choice here, as he did not set a time in this qualifying session. But there you have it. That has been the end of short qualifying. We've moved into a cloudy race session to start the race. Looks like it's going to clear up, and then, of course, it's going to clear up for a little bit, and then we'll see some more cloud cover, maybe some rain before the end of the session. But we'll see how it all plays out, how the timing goes. But that is essentially what the weather report has been indicating to me. Cloudy will clear up, but then of course we're gonna have a little bit of rain by the end of the race. So we're gonna have a little bit of everything here for this French Grand Prix. A fantastic way to run our Thursday evening, the penultimate round here, as we're just awaiting to kick things off. Now I will be right back in just a few moments. Gonna take a quick sip of water, and then I'll be able to take us through the formation lap and the start of the race. Alrighty, just in time, I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience, but we are just about ready to kick off the race here. We just completed our short qualifying session. The Red Bull of young DJ CJ will be starting on pole position here alongside one of the Racing Point drivers, but we'll take us through the order one more time once we do start that formation lap here before the start of the race for what is a very cloudy start to the French Grand Prix here. The 27 laps that the drivers are going to have to do around this circuit here before getting to the end, possibly celebrating on that podium. But here we go. Here is the order. Young DJ CJ on pole in the Red Bull on the softs. Evil Prime, he is going to be starting from the front row of the grid here in Division 3. Fantastic qualifying from him. We'll see if he can continue that here today in the race. Unholy Red Eye in the Mercedes, the lead Mercedes here at this stage. He is in third, with Mitch Burns, the second Racing Point, in fourth, and Highways rounding out the top 5. Tiger NASCAR, Pork Chops, J-Steve, VTEC, and Subtle But Whole rounding out the top 10 there. Tiger NASCAR and J-Steve, the only drivers in the top 10 to start on those yellow wall medium tires. Now looking at the rest of the grid, a little bit more of a different tire choice. Houdini in 11th, Capital in 12th, Chunky Corgi in 13th. They've opted for the hard tires here for their strategy. So looking to go very long on those white wall tires, possibly do a hard to soft strategy or a hard to mediums. We'll see how that plays out. It's Heavy in 14th, K-Dog in 15th, Awal Almeida in 16th. Those three drivers on the medium, so slightly faster compound there. The best of both worlds. C. Freeman on the softs, teammate Clogmonger on the hards, Racing Ginger in 19th on the mediums, and Kaz FSJ rounding out the grid order on the hard tires. So there's the strategy, either a one-stop medium to hards or the two-stop seemingly soft mediums to mediums. We'll see what the drivers opt to go for. Now, young DJ CJ really looking forward to getting this race kicked off, as he is running away from the rest of the field. Evil Prime using that to his advantage, backing up the grid a little bit. Now, young DJ CJ, this could be a costly mistake here, as he's going to have to be sitting on the line for a little bit longer than the rest of the field, and those tires might get a little bit cooler for the start of the race compared to those of some of those drivers behind. So we'll have to see if that is going to play an effect here on the start of the race, how young DJ CJ is going to perform in compared to the likes of Evil Prime and even Unholy Red Eye off of the restart. But here we go. We've got the drivers lining up here on the grid. We are just about ready to kick off the start of the French Grand Prix here for 27 laps around Circuit Paul Ricard. It is time for the French Grand Prix, the penultimate round of the Division 3 Championship for Midwest Formula 1. I'm hyped, get hyped, here we go. Up to 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights, and they're very quick lights here today as we're off to racing, heading down towards turn 1. Evil Prime getting a fantastic start as he takes the lead, leading into turn 1, and he does hang on to that lead. Unholy Red Eye moving up into second, so young DJ CJ staying on those cold tires, really hindering him here in these early stages as he loses 2 positions. We've got the likes of VTech and Tiger NASCAR having a battle. They're nearly side by side here going through this session, but it looks like VTech does get the better of Tiger NASCAR with those soft tires as the drivers are starting to single file a little bit more as they head towards the long back straight here of Sector 2. Looks like a young DJ CJ got ahead of Evil Prime. Here comes Highways right behind as he's going to try to make a move. Are we going to go 3 wide? Almost 3 wide. Thought about it, but wasn't quite meant to be here on lap 1. Don't want to go for anything too crazy there. But now Highway's in 4th. Evil Prime is now in 3rd. Mitch Burns, though, down in P5. So he did lose out on 1 position, but he's just sitting there watching, waiting for his time to go. We've got more very close gaps, the likes of VTech, Tiger NASCAR, who the gaps might not be accurate. We've got a yellow flag here as it looks like that might be C. Freeman a little bit further behind. So the gaps aren't overly accurate there. It's saying we're right alongside one another. I don't think that's the case. But nonetheless, a lot of close battling here, especially at the front of the field here. Highways and Evil Prime still having their battle as it looks like Evil Prime is going to try to go down the inside. Teammate Mitch Burns, though, he's going to get a little bit of a tow, a little bit of a slipstream on Highways. Maybe try to overtake his teammate, but you don't want to push too hard. Evil Prime does have that position, and there's no team orders being called. So Mitch Burns actually had his line compromised. Evil Prime, meanwhile, came very close to getting the overtake there on here on lap 2, but just was not able to get the nose in there in time. Just not enough straight line speed, not enough straight on the track to allow him to get the move done. But Unholy Red Eye, he finds himself leading this race with young DJ CJ in second. The heat in those tires is starting to kick back up for the Red Bull driver. He's starting to feel in the groove, I think. And the gap is starting to grow between the top 2 and Highways up to just over a second now after a lap and a half. But elsewhere down the grid, the battles are as close as ever. VTech chasing down Pork Chops here in these early stages, heading into Sector 3. I don't think we're going to see much of an overtake unless of a fancy move here but it would have been done. Porkchops, I think, is well aware of that possibility, and positioning his car in the perfect positions here to not lose out on on any positions, not allow himself to be caught and compromised, and give VTech an advantage. But they are getting a little bit slowed down now by these Racing Points, who just can't seem to overtake the drivers ahead of Highways, which is allowing the top two to get away, but not for long. If they're going to be battling the way they're doing now, looks like young DJ CJ and Unholy Red Eye, I think they were having a little bit of a moment heading in towards turn one. They wanted to change positions, or at least young DJ CJ wanted to exchange positions. Unholy Red Eye, on the other hand, he said, no thank you, I'm very happy here in my P1 here on lap 3. I think I'm going to keep it. So it came close, but not close enough. But once again here with DRS active, we'll see if young DJ can close enough of a gap to get the overtake done. He's thought about going down the inside, just was not able to close up enough. Meanwhile, the Racing Point drivers a little bit further behind. They do finally execute a little bit of team orders there. Mitch Burns getting ahead of Evil Prime. We'll see if Mitch Burns can find the pace he needs to possibly get the overtake done. But right as I switch away, we've got the top two drivers running side by side here. Young DJ CJ does get the move done for the moment, as he is now leading this race. Unholy Red Eye, though, he is down in second, put up a good battle, but unfortunately not enough, as young DJ CJ now leads this race, and Highways is caught right back up here. You can see the top three so close, and it looks like now Mitch Burns is ever so slowly chipping at that gap. Evil Prime, on the other hand, though, I think he's struggling here in these cloudy conditions. I don't think track temperatures are too optimal there for Evil Prime's strategy. As you can see, he is not getting nearly as much advantage as his teammate and some of these drivers ahead, but still doing a good job of keeping Porkchops behind. But Porkchops, to be fair, has his own stuff to deal with, as Chunky Corgi is out of this race. So what happened to Chunky Corgi here, as I'm going to try to keep an eye out. There is that car, absolutely flipped over, gone for a spin here. We'll get another view here with C Freeman. As you can see, there it is, just barely on your screen. And Chunky Corgi having a big accident there. I think he's okay from what I could see, but we are under virtual safety car here on lap 4 out of 27. We get a bit of a breather here, as the race has essentially been neutralized with young DJ CJ in the lead. Unholy Red Eye in second. Highways rounding out the podium positions here. Still early stages of the race. Only lap 4 out of 27, so loads of time to see things shaken up here. But it's been a fantastic race in these early stages, and hoping that this is how things are going to continue from now until the end of the race. And here we go. We are back to green flag racing. The beauty of the virtual safety car, you don't have to wait too long before you can go back to racing conditions. And already we're seeing some possible overtaking opportunities here. It's heavy. I think he had an opportunity to try to overtake Tiger NASCAR, but did not work out, and he's going to be diving into the pits very early on to get off of those medium tires. He is not feeling that tire selection at all. Meanwhile, young DJ CJ leading, but under pressure from Unholy Red Eye, as he closed right up with the help of DRS. Just not close enough to go for the move going into turn 1. But if he can get himself set up on the exit of this corner, not get caught up too much in the dirty air, he can set himself for a great launch heading into this long back straight, where the toe, the slipstream, a little bit of DRS in the process, ERS as well. That can definitely pay dividends here. But once again, young DJ CJ nailing that exit himself, and keeping that advantage, keeping the lead of the race. We've got a couple position changes here. Tiger NASCAR getting ahead of VTech. So Tiger NASCAR starting to feel that grip on those medium tires, as he's up into 7th position now. and looking now to take his turn to chase down Pork Chop, see if he can put that Haas car ahead of the Mercedes, where VTEC just seemingly could not find that pace there on those soft tires, and was unfortunately stuck behind Pork Chops for the better part of the first 4 laps here of the race. But that is where we stand here on lap 5. I'm keeping an eye out on Tiger NASCAR, who seems to be closing relatively quickly. Let's quickly move over as we're starting to see some of the leaders take their pit stops. Evil Prime, he's the first to go. The top 3, though, they will be staying out for 1 more lap, so it seems like it's just Evil Prime opting to take a pit stop, maybe following suit from what he saw the Ferrari do of It's Heavy, I believe, pitting for the hard tires. Where is Evil Prime going to come out? He's come out behind a lot of traffic. He's going to end up down in 16th position. Now, of course, he's going to have maybe a little bit of clean air, very possibly down in 17th, though. No, just gets out just ahead of C. Freeman does Evil Prime. So he's going to have a little bit of clean air that he can work with, but the question is, can he make up enough time to make this undercut work? Here comes Tiger NASCAR, though, as he's going to try to make a move on Pork Chops. Going to go around the outside, take the long way around, but he is not worried at all because he very comfortably gets the overtake done. So Tiger NASCAR in that number 15 Haas car. He is flying on those medium tires. He has found the pace. He has found the grip, and he is going to be a dangerous driver here in these next few laps as he is on the charge when we're starting to see some of these soft tire runners pace start to dwindle down a little bit as they head towards their first scheduled pit stops. So it looks like right now Tiger NASCAR has a solid advantage in the race given his track position. A little bit further behind VTEC. Things are going from bad to worse here, or it seemed like that was the case, up until Settle decided he was going to take his pit stop, following the likes of, looks like Young DJ CJ and Unholy Red Eye, which now promotes the racing point of Mitch Burns in the lead of this race here on lap 7. But he will need to take a pit stop, and I would not be surprised to see him pit at the end of this lap to counter and to respond to the pit stops from the top 2 runners that have taken their pit stops at the end of the lap we had just finished to end lap 6 to start lap 7. That was when the likes of Unholy Red Eye and Young DJ CJ took their pit stops. But look at this, though. Young DJ CJ, he came out of the pits ahead in P11 ahead of K-Dog. Meanwhile, Unholy Red Eye, he's got the likes of Racing Ginger and K-Dog behind him. He is trying to make some work, but with those soft tires that Unholy Red Eye has on, he's going to have the pace. They're going to be worn, but he's going to have to fight a little bit more than Young DJ CJ is. So it looks like there was some time loss in the pit stops from the Mercedes team. Not too sure if that was a driver error or if that was possibly just a pit error. We will not know. Possibly with a post-race interview, we can give an ask if we can remember that. But we'll see. We'll see what had happened there. But crucially for us, we do continue onwards. Unholy Red Eye, just like that, caught right back up to Young DJ CJ. Highways, he has now taken his pit stop, so he will be coming in. So did Mitch Burns, and it looks like Pork Chops as well took their pit stop, so they're going to be falling down the order, which does promote the likes of Tiger NASCAR and JST in first and second place, with the Capital on those hard tires still running a fantastic race. He is up into P3 now. He can go much longer than the rest. But Tiger NASCAR and JST will be able to go at least a little bit long here. And they've got, for Tiger NASCAR's sake, he's got a nice little gap, 1.6 seconds between himself and JST. So can sit fairly comfortably here in this stage of the race to just pump a few laps, keep that gap the way it is, and pit once those tires start to fall off to minimize the damage, while everybody else on the softs essentially just battles each other heading back up the field to regain those positions that have been lost in the pit stops. So that is seemingly where we are now here on lap 8 out of 27. Kaz, though, on the hard tires, chasing down Houdini. They're actually both on the hard tires here. So a bit of a similar battle, similar tire wear. It's going to come down to strategy. It looked like Kaz got close, but just was not close enough to get the overtake done on Houdini. So we'll be stuck behind. Unholy Red Eye now, still behind Young DJ CJ, chasing the Red Bull driver down here. He is on those soft tires compared to Young DJ CJ's mediums. So, Unholy Red Eye should have a little bit more pace, but he's going to have to get the overtake done soon because that dirty air is going to affect the tire wear. They're going to wear out those tires a little bit quicker than if he was in those clean air. He's going to have to be fighting the dirty air caused from that Red Bull car. But here we go. Are we going to see the move done here into turn 1? Around the outside he goes. It almost looked like they were going to make contact, but no. Loads of room left, and a nice clean move from Unholy Red Eye puts himself now up into 7th position and very possibly in the net lead of this race. But both drivers are running entirely different strategies. Unholy Red Eye, he's on the softs. Young DJ CJ is on the mediums, so this is to be expected. We'll see how these pit strategies are going to play out between now and the end of the race, especially with the possibility of rain at the end of the session. We're starting to see the track clear up, but do not be fooled. The clouds very well could come right back, and we could see some rain before the end of the session. But we'll see how all of that plays out and how the strategy calls work out in reference to that. I'm sure some drivers banking for the inters, some other drivers hoping that it stays dry tire running the entirety of the way, and that could make things very, very tricky, especially with the different strategies drivers are running. But right now, though, Unholy Red Eye is the only driver on the soft tires. Everybody else is on a harder compounded tires. Subtle But Whole and Racing Ginger are having a nice little side-by-side. 3 wide, though, nearly, as Pork Chop's getting involved. As Racing Ginger, he bails out of that battle. Pork Chops, he's a man on a mission. As he's charging ahead, he gets ahead of Subtle But Whole. So there goes the other Mercedes driver of Pork Chops after his pit stop. He is on a charge, now chasing down the likes of K-Dog and Highways for P12 and P11, trying to catch back up to that group of drivers that he was with, the likes of Unholy Red Eye, Young DJ CJ, Evil Prime, Mitch Burns, Highways, and right now he's only got K-Dog in his way. Does Pork Chops, but with the rate Pork Chops is going, it shouldn't be too long before this overtake happens. Seems like it's going to be when, not if, and it looks like we're going to see it here with the help of DRS and ERS. Subtle But Whole, meanwhile, following right behind. Is Subtle going to get the double overtake? He's going to try to put one down the inside. Needs to cut the corner a little bit there, as you saw. So very wisely abandons the overtake. Will live to fight another day. Doesn't want to get squeezed off. Doesn't want to lose more than he has to. But you can see riding on board with K-Dog as she gets overtaken by VTech. The battle between Subtle and Pork Chops seems to have only just begun, rather than had just ended, as I previously thought. And what a battle this is going to be here, as they've been going at it here for the last few laps. And as much as for the moment it's only for P13, P12, this very much so could be a battle for a much higher position once these harder tire runners take their pit stops. Now, elsewhere on track, Unholy Red Eye, he is continuing his charge up the field in preparation for that next pit stop. Up into P6 now as he got ahead of Houdini. Young DJ CJ, he's trying to get ahead too, and he does outbrake Houdini, who's on 10-lap-old hard tires. So that, I'm sure, definitely hurts the Ferrari driver a little bit, watching Young DJ overtake him as easy as that is. But fret not, Houdini, you are both on different strategies here, although it seems like right now Young DJ's strategy might be the better strategy at least in this stage of the race. But with more than half the race to go, anything can happen. Hang on a minute though. Capital and Kaz are having a little side-by-side battle here as they were going side-by-side, elbows out racing, pushing a little bit of pushing off track there, but nothing too wrong as they're still going to be battling it out here. And it looks like a Wild Maida might want to get involved, and here comes Unholy Red Eye now trying to sneak through, nearly 3 wide. Young DJ CJ is going to get involved. Look at this, 4 cars right near one another. They do get themselves sorted out just to take the corner, but risks like that, they do split right back up. It looks like Maida now is going to get around. Are we going to see the likes of Unholy Red Eye now get around? Kaz has lost out on 2 positions, a little bit of contact there, and that's a half spin from Kaz as he's now back on track, losing out to Houdini. Kaz is down into 8th, Capital takes a pit stop, Houdini up into 6th, Young DJ CJ in 5th, but this battle is still going between Maida, Unholy Red Eye, and Young DJ. They're still side by side here, just about. Houdini now, I think he wants to get involved, but it seems like this is anybody's position here as we're heading into every braking zone. Things are going to settle down just a little bit now as we've approached a bit more of a single file position, but expect things to open up very shortly as drivers get DRS charged down the long back straight. I would love to get a helicopter shot of this battle. Here we go. Unholy Red Eye on Maida. He gets the overtake done. Young DJ CJ on Maida, as Maida's kind of caught flat-footed without any DRS. C. Freeman is out of this race. Evil Prime getting out of Houdini in the process. But now, Unholy Red Eye in a podium position. Young DJ CJ in 4th. Maida finds himself down in 5th position as he just could not hang on with the 2 former drivers on those fresher tires, but still able to keep the likes of Kaz behind, who is looking to run much longer on those hard tires. And Evil Prime now sees 2 cars between himself and his main rivals here in the race. And seemingly looks like a few other drivers are kind of being left out in the dust here as those top 2 are charging up the field, seemingly in unison. But like I said, I think Unholy Red Eye might need to take a pit stop sooner rather than later to get off of those soft tires. So it's only natural that he is pushing, trying to overtake. And props to Young DJ CJ for sticking with them, even though Young DJ CJ is on the slower tire compound. But you saw that there. Porkchop's going for a little bit of an overtake as he does a dipsy doodle around the likes of Tiger NASCAR and Highways. He's up into P8 now, but here comes Highways chasing right down. Thought about going down the inside, but just could not hang around with the braking point. The way that corner is set up, very difficult to do. Not much of an overtaking corner there is that corner section, because it's all about the exit here and how you maximize your speed. DRS is definitely going to help as we're seeing Porkchops under pressure. Here comes Highways. Is he going to have enough room to put it down the inside? They're going to go side by side. You saw Highways ahead. Oh no, and that's a half spin for Porkchops. Fantastic recovery job from the Mercedes driver, but it looked like there was a tiny little bit of contact there. Porkchops getting the worst end of it, the short end of the stick, as now Highways continues on in 8th. But now, Porkchops now loses out to Highways as well as Tiger NASCAR, who is right there in the lurking in the shadows, just awaiting for his chance to get the position. And his chance did come, and for Tiger NASCAR, very difficult to bottle that overtaking opportunity there. But right there, right as I say that, Highways having a big moment there, just could not keep the car under control as we were riding on board, going very slow now as he's trying to head back on track. That is going to be a huge loss of positions there for Highways, as I'm not sure what happened, why Highways is going so slow. I'm really not sure there, unless he just completely missed his braking point. But now he is back on circuit, but way down in 15th place. So seemingly after a little bit of, I don't want to say instant karma, but after getting caught up in an incident with Porkchops, there you have, you can see the likes of Highways in a much worse spot here, just half a lap later. Capital now getting ahead of K-Dog as the two Renault drivers interchanged positions. It's Heavy now flying past VTech right as we switch over to that onboard there. You shows the power of DRS and even ERS when used properly here. As we have just about hit the midway point of the race here, lap 14 out of 27, so just past the midway point of the race. JST is leading, but he is now taking a pit stop, which is going to allow the likes of young DJ CJ possibly overtake. Evil Prime though is chasing down JST. Let's see, he is no, he will be overtaken. He is going to fall, but the question is, where will he be falling to after that pit stop? And he's putting on a set of hard tires. That's very interesting. He does need to put on a different compound, but not opting for the softs. He's opting to go for that medium to hard strategy and run those 12 final laps on those hard tires. And he is out in 5th position now once it is all said and done. So that strategy working to a T for JSD. Equally for Tiger NASCAR, who now both find themselves in P4 and P5 here. Highways, meanwhile, he went around one more time, but he retires out of this race in the pit lane. So nothing wrong with that, but it's just we are now down to 17 drivers on track, and I think I do feel like possibly that contact with Porkchops might have something to do with it, or that mistake heading into the final corner there. But either way, it is the end of the race for Highways, as he is going to take an early start to next week's preparation once we do hit the final round, but not quite there yet. Still have to finish this round, the penultimate round here of the championship around the French Grand Prix. And what a race has been so far. Young DJ CJ is leading the charge here in the Red Bull. He's got a 2.5 second gap to his nearest competitor, who is in the Racing Point. That is Evil Prime, 2.6 seconds behind. Mitch Burns rounding out the podium, rounding out the top 3, 4.8 seconds behind Evil Prime. So definitely a two-man horse for the possible win at this stage of the Grand Prix, as we are very quickly approaching the latter stages of the Grand Prix. Tiger NASCAR, JST, P4 and P5, 4th and 5th position here in this stage. They ran a fantastic medium tire strategy, going long, keeping clean, and they are now benefiting from it with the drivers having a battle to overtake on the softs. Most were on the softs. They just coasted on the mediums, cruised ahead, and find themselves in a fantastic position and poised to get possibly quite a few points. Porkchops having another fantastic race. He's in 6th right now on those 8-lap old mediums. So, like I said, he's having another fantastic race and looking to add to his already very solid point total in those Drivers' Championship. Maybe snag a few extra in the process between now and the end of the race, depending on how things go for him. But is under a lot of pressure, though, from It's Heavy in the Ferrari. It's Heavy is looking to snag a few extra points for himself, help his Ferrari constructors, as well as aid his position in the Drivers' Championship. And this overtake on Porkchops would definitely mean a lot for those extra points. But we'll see. It's a lot easier said than done to get the overtake done here, especially in this section of the track. Maybe not so much in those DRS zones, those long back straights, where you tend to see them more often, but through in Sector 3, even Sector 1, very difficult. But here we go, It's Heavy, gonna try to go down the inside towards Turn 1, they're side by side. The inside turned into the outside, but It's Heavy had the line, found the traction, he gets ahead in P6. Porkchops now down in 7th, as the Ferrari and the Mercedes do exchange positions. And I can hear the Tifosi screaming from here after that overtake. They are absolutely loving it, watching their driver overtake the Mercedes and continue the charge. But for how long, though, will this position be held? Because Porkchops is going to come right back with the help of DRS. But of course, the long straight just not long enough in Porkchops' eyes to have that pace to get the overtake done. maybe down this this next section of the straight, but no DRS for this one, unfortunately. So don't get the same amount of help as you do down the down that first portion of the straight before the chicane. So it's heavy. Is still going to be in 6th position for the time being. That is where he will remain, as we are under 10 laps to go now. You're going to see young DJ cross the line to start lap 18 out of 27. 9 laps to go in this Grand Prix, with the two racing points of Evil Prime and Mitch Burns in 2nd and 3rd, having a fantastic race they are here in the podium. And like I said, I still can't get enough of Tiger NASCAR and JST with that strategy that they were able to pull off. But things are far from over. As you can see, cloud cover starting to creep in here at over the circuit. Still a little bit of sun, but I do feel as though things are going to get cloudier and cloudier as the laps move on, and we might see a tiny little bit of rain here before the end of the session if we're not careful. The question, though, very well could be, are we going to see enough rain to warrant one final pit stop, or will it just be dry running, but just you got to be a little bit more cautious? Oh no! Speaking of cautious, JST having a big moment, going for a half spin. He's going to have to slow up there and lose out on a few positions in the process, as now he's got a lot of cars. You've got to get back on track. At least start merging with speed when it's safe to do so. Continuing to fall down the order, so calamity for the Williams of JST, as he was running so well, but just one little misclick, one little over acceleration for JST means he goes from 5th position down to 12th position from that half spin. So not ideal for him, but still has some time to recoup, still has some time to gain a few positions. Just got to get back into the action, get back into the groove, and you should hopefully be able. You've got a big group of cars ahead of you there that can definitely help with the confidence if you are able to get ahead of them. So we'll keep an eye out on that, see how all of that is going to play out for him. But you can't help but feel a little bit for the Williams at JST, who was running so well. But one mistake here in motorsports, that's all it takes. And sometimes that's just how the sport goes here. Very tricky. It can be very vicious to you. And it's just a part of racing. It's a part of the sport, like every sport. But we're seeing here, though, JST now getting that first step done ahead of his teammate, a Wild Maida, who did overtake him not too long ago. Needing to close up on Houdini is a little bit over a second behind, so will not have DRS through this lap, but he seems to be on a charge, on a mission here, so should very much so have that DRS next lap if he doesn't get ahead beforehand in the process. But of course, here on lap 19, we've got a couple gaps starting to form here. Evil Prime and young DJ CJ, they're taking a pit stop here, so things are actually going to heat up. They're getting on a set of soft tires, so young DJ CJ is. I would not be surprised to see the likes of Evil Prime maybe match that strategy. Now, all of a sudden, this brings a Tiger NASCAR even more so into contention. He finds himself in P2, sitting on a possible podium position here thanks to those pit stops. But young DJ CJ, Evil Prime, they are going to be on a new set of soft tires, so they're going to have a big pace advantage. They're going to be able to really fly. They are going to be able to get a big jump here off of off those fresher set of tires. Now, very crucially, young DJ CJ finds himself, look at that, right behind Unholy Red Eye, who ran the alternate strategy of going soft mediums instead of soft medium soft. So it looks like that did work out for Unholy Red Eye in the at the end of the day when the strategy was all said and done, as he finds himself now ahead of the Red Bull driver, but still needing to catch up on overtake VTEC and close up on the likes of It's Heavy, Tiger NASCAR, and I'm sure Mitch Burns is going to have to pit. But crucially, though, Evil Prime finds himself all the way down in P12. So it looks like he might have had an issue with his pit stop because he was right behind young DJ CJ, but now is very much so separated by 6 positions from the driver he was formerly trailing. So a calamitous pit stop, not a great one there from the Racing Point of Evil Prime, as he is now stuck right behind that, and I think it's just because he got out right behind that group of cars that have just been following one another, being led by none other than Capital on those mediums there, as now we're seeing Mitch Burns taking a pit stop, and I think it's going to be a similar situation. Yes, right behind this string of cars will come out Mitch Burns, so he's going to lose out on quite a few positions. Unholy Red Eye got very close to VTEC here on lap 21, unable to get the overtake done, but now young DJ CJ looks to be flirting with these two drivers too, and we might see a little bit of Red Bull tag team work here. The likes, oh my goodness, so we might see some Red Bull tag teamwork here down the back straight. Maybe the likes of young DJ CJ trying to go for a move to box out the likes of Unholy Red Eye, but no, Unholy Red Eye seeing right through it, getting ahead. Young DJ CJ though, he gets ahead in the corner, pulls off the overtake, the double overtake, so to say. So he is ahead of Unholy Red Eye. He is ahead of his teammate VTEC as they are continuing the charge. But young DJ CJ with his turn on that new set of soft tires, he is finding that extra pace that seemingly Unholy Red Eye might have been struggling with a little bit more than young DJ CJ in the previous encounter when the boots were reversed with Unholy on the softs and young DJ on the mediums. But I do think that that does go ahead and show the absolute pace, pure pace that young DJ CJ has in that Red Bull. He is comfortable in that car, and he has shown it time and time again. And here today, here this evening, it is absolutely no different. But on your screen right now, you've got a little bit of a battle. Evil Prime and a Wild Meta getting involved here. Mitch Burns is ahead of his teammate. Evil Prime now gets ahead of a Wild Meta. You saw the overtake happen after a little tiny, minute bit of contact. Nothing to worry about too much going around the final corner. Just an attempted switchback move there, and sometimes it does happen, but very promptly got the overtake done heading in towards turn 1. Did Evil Prime, and he goes up into P11. Now, on your screen right now, we've got this big battle here in the midfield. This is that train that is being led by Capital, but Kaz is chasing down. Houdini's involved. Mitch Burns, JST, and speaking of, Mitch Burns does get ahead of JST. Kaz now gets ahead of Capital heading into the braking zone, nearly 3 wide there, as I think JST wanted to get that position back, but needs to watch out because Evil Prime now is on a charge on those soft tires. They're going side by side, and it looks like Evil Prime does get the overtake. He's up into P10, back behind his teammate and chasing down the 2 racing points on those soft tires, so they are set to start flying. But they're going to have to get past Houdini here, who's going to be a very tough customer in that Ferrari. We'll see how they fare between now and the end of the race. But seems like as of right now, Tiger NASCAR's, he is in the lead. It's Heavy in second. And unless barring a pit stop, it looks like it is going to be their race to lose. Young DJ CJ, through all that, finds himself on the podium, which is a great spot. I'm sure Houdini, though, meanwhile, hoping that the Red Bull driver has a mistake and falls down the order a little bit, as Mitch Burns gets ahead of Houdini, which doesn't help his case one bit, as Houdini now down in 9th place. Mitch Burns in 8th. Evil Prime very quickly makes quick work of the Ferrari, who finds himself down in 10th. So the 2 racing points, both overtaking cars very shortly of one another. So it looks like a very team effort just about, really working together to get these overtakes done. Meanwhile, young DJ CJ, he overtakes It's Heavy on those, who was on those hards. Young DJ on those softs still, so much faster tire. The overtake gets done, and late in this Grand Prix, young DJ CJ finds himself back in 2nd position, but with a 5.4 second gap to close up to the leader of Tiger NASCAR. The question is, will he be able to do it? He's going to have to close up 5 seconds in a span of what I can only think it would be 5 laps here. So let's see. So about 4 to 5 laps would be the count there, the official count. As I just have to quickly count them out manually there. But we'll see if a young DJ can do it, or if Tiger NASCAR can hold on. They are both penalty free here in these closing stages, which is crucial here around this circuit. And speaking of, we've had the tires open for quite some time. Let's take a look at the penalties. So VTech is falling down the orders. He's taking a pit stop. He had 6 seconds of penalties. It's Heavy, Unholy, Red Eye both have 3 seconds. Kaz, though, he's got 9 seconds of penalties, so that is definitely not going to help him one bit here, especially with all these drivers oh so close to him. He might see himself essentially lose a lot of positions to a lot of drivers here that he's been working oh so hard to keep behind between up until this point of the race. But here comes Mitch Burns looking for an overtake on Capital. Once again, Mitch Burns on those soft tires, finding the pace. He's taking that inside line. Will he get the overtake done before the braking zone? It's going to be close, not quite, as Capital does take that position right back. And he is now back in 6th position, but for how long? Conserving energy. Mitch Burns taking the inside line, having to get back onto the racing line, though, as going side by side through that corner is not going to end well. And Mitch Burns knows more than anyone what could happen there. Wisely backs away and is going to try again, maybe get that runoff on the exit leading into this corner. Not normally an overtaking zone, but we have seen surprises like that in the past, so I would not have put it past some of these drivers here, especially with the clock winding down here, the laps very quickly winding down, as we're starting lap 25 out of 27, very close to the end, so maybe a little bit more desperation for some of the drivers. Here we go, Mitch Burns going side by side with Capital. Who is going to get the position here as they head through into turn 1? It looks like Mitch Burns had to slow up, and he might actually lose out on that position to his teammate. Yes, Evil Prime now gets ahead as he's got more momentum. It's his turn. The Racing Points switch right back positions compared to like they did a few laps ago. And now Evil Prime is going to take his turn. He's probably got the battery charge set up and ready. He's got more pace. Let's see if that is going to translate into an overtake on Capital. Very quickly you can see gaining, gets ahead. Will it be enough? Yes, it is. It appears as though Capital, though, he's trying to keep his nose in there, but it was all for naught as the overtake does happen. Evil Prime now does get ahead, and look at that, Mitch Burns, he followed right behind his teammate, and he got ahead there, so fantastic work from the Racing Point team once again to pull off another double overtake and get both of their cars up that position. Capital, though, not giving up without a fight. He was trying to go around the inside. Did not quite work out, but very crucially here, we are in very late stages of the race, but the rain is starting to fall. We are starting to see raindrops here, as that is one of the Racing Point drivers. That was Evil Prime diving into the pits, so I'm curious to see what that call was all about. Let's go back to the tires. Don't tell me you're getting on a set of intermediates. It's way too early for intermediates, I would think. Right? We'll keep an eye out. We'll have to see. No, he is going on intermediate tires. So Evil Prime maybe pulling off a fantastic strategy, or this could be a bit of a blow call here. We'll see how it all plays out, but the rain is really starting to fall quite a bit. But the question is, with the amount of laps left, is it worth it to take a pit stop, or are you better off just trekking? Wow, speaking of, though, penultimate lap, young DJ CJ was able to catch up to Tiger NASCAR. I was too busy looking at the midfield. I didn't quite catch that. Moved over at just the perfect time, though, because we've got a battle on our hands for the victory here that is going to go down to the final lap of the Grand Prix. This drive between young DJ and NASCAR, the two strategies, the two optimal strategies here, coming to play, coming in a duel here at the end of the race. This is what you love to see. Yellow flag here, but that is not going to bring out much of anything. No safety cars now, as we are about to start the final lap of the Grand Prix. Tiger NASCAR leading the way here so far on those hard tires. Young DJ CJ in second. Unholy Red Eye now rounding out the podium as Kaz and It's Heavy alternate positions. They exchange. It's Heavy, though. He's going to take a pit stop. He's going to put on a set of intermediate tires. He's had it with those hard tires at the very least, and you know what? Why not? But it's going to be losing out on a lot of positions here. Young DJ and Tiger NASCAR getting very, very close, but I think this straight will make or break. This will determine possibly who gets the victory. A little bit of a battle trying to break the toes here, having none of it. Young DJ forced to the outside. The overtake does happen before the braking zone, and Tiger NASCAR having a big moment there on those hard tires for good measure, and that is definitely now Young DJ CJ's position and his race to lose now, as Tiger NASCAR having a very costly mistake on that final lap there, losing any chance of being able to fight back on the Red Bull driver, who's now in a prime position to take the victory here. So the strategy working out for him, and it looks like the strategy to stay out is a bit more of the optimal strategy. As I expected, we're not seeing much overtaking happening with this extra pit stop here from the likes of It's Heavy and Evil Prime. So I don't think the taking that pit stop for the intermediates was the best idea. But here we go, around the final corner as cautiously and safely as he can, bringing the car home in one piece in these atrocious conditions right at the end. It is your race winner here with a fantastic overtake on the final lap. Young DJ CJ takes the victory here, and very much so makes a push for the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Tiger NASCAR in second, so a fantastic drive for the Haas driver there, pulling that reverse strategy, which worked well for 26.5 laps, but just could not bring it to the end. And Unholy Red Eye rounding out the podium. Drag race to the line, though, is Kaz and Capital. As they cross the line, though, Kaz, he is going to fall, I believe, with those penalties. So excitement on track for just for a waterfall off of it. But Kaz looks to have settled in 9th, right ahead of Pork Chops, who still snags a top 10 for his troubles. Evil Prime, he's got a VTEC in 11th. Evil Prime is going to be in 12th. Racing Ginger in 13th. K-Dog in 14th. But crucially, It's Heavy. He DNF'd out of that race. K-Dog having a little bit of fun here on that final lap, knowing final driver on the track. Nothing wrong with that, but it just goes to show how slippery these conditions are here. And it really went from dry to absolutely soaking wet in a span of 2 laps. So, I mean, drivers pitting for the intermediates, they had the right idea. It's just there was not enough time in the race to be able to properly execute that strategy, which is why they did not benefit from it as much as you would like. But if there was maybe 1, 2, 3 more laps left of the Grand Prix, this could have been a completely different story here. Maybe seen a lot more pit stops. But alas, that has been the very exciting, very fantastic French Grand Prix here. You've got the podium. It's a familiar face, Young DJ CJ on the podium, but you gotta hand it to all the podium drivers there. Young DJ, Tiger NASCAR, as well as Unholy Red Eye for having a fantastic drives all around, all pulling off the different strategies and all showing that those strategies can bring out good results here. So congratulations, well-deserved podium. And one more time through the order here, Young DJ CJ, he is your winner. He is victorious here from pole position to the victory here with the 2-stop. He wins. Tiger NASCAR in second from 6th, and Unholy Red Eye from 3rd to 3rd. Houdini from 11th down to 4th. Mitch Burns in 5th, rounding out the top 5. JC in 6th, Capital in 7th, Maida in 8th, Kaz in 9th, and Pork Chops rounding out the top 10. Kaz from 20th up into 9th, so his strategy worked out for him here. VTech, Evil Prime, Racing Ginger, K-Dog, It's Heavy rounding out the top 15. Clogmonger, Subtle But Whole, Highways, C Freeman, Chunky Corgi, they round out the back of the grid here from 15th to 20th. But there you have it. That has been the French Grand Prix. And I will just go off. I will send those invites off to our podium sitters because it is time to move over to the post-race interviews. So I'm going to get those invites sent off here, and just as I wait for them to join, once I get the invite sent off, I've got a little bit of news, a little bit of a breaking content here, some juice, so to say, for the next season that will be coming up on F1 2021 a little bit shortly after this is over. But bear with me, I'll get those invites sent off, and I will cover all the deets that I can give to you all here in just a few moments. Alrighty, I've got those invites sent off. We'll wait for the drivers to kick in. But in the meantime, like I was saying, hold that thought there. We've already got our first driver here, Tiger NASCAR, in the lobby. Tiger NASCAR, can you hear us at all? Tiger NASCAR, are you there? All right, Tiger NASCAR, I can't quite hear you, unfortunately. So I'll get back to you. But for now, oh my goodness, what am I trying to do here? Let's see. I think Unholy Red Eye are here with us. Hello, perfect. So Unholy Red Eye from 3rd on the grid to 3rd here, a podium position for you. Talk us through it. What were your thoughts here after that very exciting French Grand Prix? Yeah, and that's something I did see, Unholy Red Eye, that you and Young DJ seem to cross paths quite a bit here over the course of the race, even running those different strategies. Now, I do want to ask, the strategy that you ran, I think it was the soft mediums, if I recall correctly. Was that your initial strategy call right from the get-go, or did you sort of fix that up on the fly? Yeah, and that was, I mean, it was a fantastic race for you, and I just want to congratulate you once again on the podium, the solid haul of points here heading into the final race. problem. Now,
Thank you.
speaking of, DJ, are you here with us at all?
Hello, yeah.
Hello, perfect. So, I mean, I'll be honest, with the way your season's been, seems like another race and another solid result for you. But talk us through it from first on the grid to the top step of the podium. What were your thoughts here after that French Grand Prix?
Well, I didn't have the greatest start, I would say. I actually kind of slacked away, and that dropped me a third. So I started thinking through a different type of strategy, because I was planning going soft to hards, but then I was looking at my pace I had, so I just tried to do the opposite of Houdini. Well, not Houdini, my bad. Unholy Red Eye, which I would say the whole race I was just battling with them, but yeah,
And was that?
one of the.
I mean, I'll ask the strategy too, because I did notice. I mean, all three of you on the podium ran a different strategy, but with Unholy Red Eye running the, I think it was the soft mediums. Was that because of that you opted to go for the soft medium soft, or was that your initial strategy going in?
Well, it's because Jeff kept saying 15 minutes of rain, but it never showed up, so I was trying to make those mediums last until the rain. But it seems like the rain never showed up, so I just pitted for softs at the end.
I see. Now, my last question though for you, young DJ, is that with the victory here and Houdini maybe not having definitely not having the best race here, heading into the final race, how confident do you feel in your battle with Houdini for the lead of the Drivers' Championship heading into that final race, that maybe you can snag that for yourself?
It's going to be a very close one, since Houdini, he's a pretty good driver, and knowing how Singapore is, so many safety cars, so strategy is going to be the gamer point on that one, to be honest.
Yep, it'll be a good one, but you definitely helped your case after this race, and congratulations on the victory, the solid haul of points as we head into the final race.
Thank you.
No problem. Now, I'll try again. Tiger NASCAR, just want to check in. Are you here with us at all? I don't think I can hear Tiger NASCAR. Just want to. Can you guys hear him at all?
No, I think he said his mic is broken.
Oh, his mic is broken. Oh, crap.
Yes.
Darn. Darn, that's really unfortunate for Tiger NASCAR. But I mean, he had a solid drive from 6th on the grid up to 2nd. Completed the trifecta of different strategies heading into the podiums with the mediums to hards. But a solid race. But I guess I'm not going to answer the questions for him. But I'm just going to wish him congratulations on the strong showing here today with the podium, with that P2 and the solid haul of points. But there you have it. That is doing it here for the race, our penultimate race. But I do have at least a little bit of news, a tiny little bit of an announcement here or two leading into the next season. Now, I'll start off with the one I'm going to have fun doing. Division 3, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be leaving you as of next season, because I will be calling Division 2 as of next season. I got a little bit of a promotion, so I will be taking the comm seat for Division 2 as of next season. As much as it pains me to leave Division 3, it's gonna be exciting to see that. So that is news number 1, and news number 2 is that for Division 3 and Division 4, at the very least, we do have a new point system that's going to be coming out as of next season, once we do break into F1 2021. And from what I'm seeing, in Division 3, first place will get around 57 points, and it'll work your way down from there: 57, 54, 51, 49, 46, etc., etc. Division 4, starting from 44 points, then down 42, 40, 38, 37, 36, 5, etc., down from there. We're going to have some more news on that on the Discord, so definitely keep an eye out on that for news on that, and tons more breaking news leading into the next season. But for this season, not over just yet. We've got one final race to go to. I think it was a young DJ who mentioned it. We will be under the lights in Singapore for the finale next week here. Same time, same place. You're not going to want to miss that. It is going to be a good one. But until then, I've been Fallen Monkeys saying thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a fantastic evening.